like to share a few thoughts with me. This problem of free speech, nationalism and sedition, I look at it from a different point of view. In my opinion, in any society, the enjoyment of any right, legal right, is not purely dependent upon the legal regime which is operational in that society. There is another factor which facilitates or restricts the enjoyment of rights. That is the evolution of the civil society. Eventually, when the state makes a law, whether it is reasonable or unreasonable, rational or irrational, consistent with the constitutional limitations or not, is one question. The second aspect of the matter is, when the law is made, how is it enforced? A wonderful law could be abused. A seemingly not very wonderful law perhaps could be enforced in a more reasonable manner. These are all possibilities, anything is possible. So essentially at the core of the problem is the understanding of the civil society of the whole situation. When we talk about the great Manavendranath Roy and talk about this institution, Renaissance. Renaissance, I understand, is a French word which literally means in French rebirth. I don't know whether rebirth has its own connotations in India. But, so therefore, whether it's, what is this Renaissance which this country has achieved in the last 70 and odd years? Ever since Manavendranath Roy propagated his ideas, or we formed ourselves into a republic. I personally believe, I may be wrong, I'll be very happy if I'm proved wrong. We have become a progressively more and more intolerant society and less rational society in this country. The problem once again is this. I hope I will not be lynched here for saying this. There is a huge disconnect in this country between urban India and the rural India. What liberties and rights mean to people sitting in Delhi, or for that matter any state capital, Bombay, Hyderabad, Bangalore, their own perception of liberties and rights is something which 70% of the rest of the population of this country, the masses who live in the villages, they never understand nor they care for it because it doesn't really affect them. I can demonstrate it, gentlemen. So I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm not being misunderstood. A few years back, not very long back, a couple of years back, a particular prominent leader of this country was found guilty of corruption. The leader suffered imprisonment for a short while. There was a by-election immediately thereafter, with a huge mandate, unprecedented mandate. The people of this country returned the candidate sponsored by that particular leader. People have their right, we can't find fault with them. But then why is it happening is the question. There's no point in blaming people, especially lakhs of people believe in something. Even if we believe that they exercise their franchise wrongly, but we must understand why they did it and find out the way to prevent it, to convince those people why they ought not to do it. Otherwise, we are not finding any solution to the problem. One more example I'll give you. I'm deliberately avoiding names for various reasons, reasons of recency, reasons of law, reasons of my own limitations of office. For various reasons, I'm deliberately avoiding the names. I have heard over the TV a particular leader making a statement on an issue concerning an interstate dispute, saying that we'll seal up the borders with so-and-so state. Well, I don't know whether it's nationalism, whether it's sedition, whether it's consistent with the constitutional vote people in public life occupying public office take, whether it could be said consistent with the constitutional dictates of this country. But the masses did not find anything wrong with it. That leader continues in public life. Maybe he's otherwise a nice man. I don't know. I never spoke to him. I never met him in my life. Maybe I saw him here and there in an aircraft. But is it a conduct consistent with the constitutional, the text of the Constitution or the spirit of the Constitution? It's a question which I request each one of you to ask yourselves. The third thing, I have known, I'm sure most of you know it, if you are not already forgotten. Caste becomes such an important factor in the Indian society in the last 70 years. It's always been, but after we adopted this grand structure of the modern constitution, which makes a loud announcement that the Indian constitution is caste blind, we know what all happens in this country, the various manifestations of this zeal. Apart from these classes which require a constitutional protection in view of certain historical factors which created disadvantages to these sections of the society, I'm not dealing with them. Of late state, I'm talking about the jurisprudential state, I'm not talking about the geographical state, it includes geographical states. We are known states which patronize caste societies. Official allocations are made in the budgets to caste-based organizations. And the moment one particular organization is patronized by the state by making an official allocation of the budget, demands sprout from various other communities saying that why not my community? Why don't you make an allocation? No. Allocation for the welfare of the people, there is no difficulty. But the moment you say it is based on the tag of a caste, the trouble starts. And in the last 70 years, we have come so far. Where else we are going, I don't know. But at any rate, next 14 months, I can't speak about it, where else we'll go. But those of you who are free citizens who do not suffer the same disability which I suffer, you should think of it. And where are we failing in this process? Unless we address these basic concerns, any amount of debate about the state, its totalitarian nature, the restrictions on the fundamental rights, the free speech, so on and so forth will not lead us anywhere. A society which is inherently intolerant, whose value system is inherently pivoted against by intolerance, is bound to produce and bound to enforce laws which are draconian, which are not liberal, and which are abominable. That is something which is sure. In the process, as I was mentioning, the Shah is a little more free man. every wing of the state, a constitutional organization, be it the legislature, be it the executive, be it the judiciary, it will continue to share the same malaise which the society is generating. I was mentioning about the disconnect between the urban India and the rural India. Well, I'm sure I'll be offending people here by making this statement, but then I'm helpless. These are all issues, serious issues, which I'm sure a good number of you would share that the issues which I have projected so far are serious issues for the healthy development of this country, which need to be addressed. The real crass manifestation of all these problems is the recent development. All of you know what happened in Tamil Nadu. Some enthusiasts approached the Supreme Court, raising certain questions about the infringement of a particular statute. The practice of Jallikattu, whether there was an infringement of the law, whether it's cruelty to animals, I'm not going into that question at all. These are all matters which the court will decide, whatever decisions is taken. What happened thereafter is in the knowledge of every one of us. I think newspapers and TVs, everybody covered it. Why was it that such a reaction was generated? And my dear friends, those of you who are not from Tamil Nadu, who are not very well acquainted with Tamil Nadu, I must tell you, because I have a little acquaintance, I studied in that state. I am a graduate of Madras University, and I have interaction with that state for 40 years or more. Until this litigation started, it was an activity confined to some remote corners of Tamil Nadu in rural areas. I'm sure if some friends from Tamil Nadu are present, they would bear me out on this. And all this enthusiasm of ours brought Jallikattu to the Marina Beach, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm sure in the years to come, this is going to proliferate in every town and village of Tamil Nadu. Now, if Jallikattu is a cruel game, it's a game which practices cruelty on animals, there are ways of dealing with it, and then the kind of attention we have given to that, which triggered up, and you remember what are all the events that followed, and what are all the slogans that were voiced after that judgment. The point is this: I'm not talking about whether these activists should have raised it or not. I'm not on that. Not on that. They have their freedom to raise whatever question they want. But in the process, we really don't know where we are going. They're asking questions. Well, what did the Supreme Court do when so-and-so state people defied the order of the Supreme Courts? So where are we going ultimately? It only shows that we have become an intolerant society, we have become an irrational society progressively. And when we talk about we, ultimately it is we, the urbanites, or I'm told, late Ramanohar Lohia, I believe, very frequently commented, the English-knowing gentlemen of this country. Most of the time, we are the people who promote the ideas. It's we who write in the newspapers, we speak in the televisions. And we are not able to convince that man, the illiterate man, the villager, look here, this is right, this is wrong. So long as we are not able to do that, all this will not lead us anywhere. If we really wish to have a society which is truly liberal, where the cherished human liberties are jealously protected by all wings of the state, I think the urgent need, in my opinion, is first to generate that functional education in this country and educate the masses of this country what is create that awareness of right and wrong in this. And I'm sure an organization like the one committed to Renaissance has this obligation to create this awareness, and an occasional event like the present one would go a long way to promote this program. I'm sorry in the process if I've offended anybody, but then I couldn't help it. I thought, I'll tell you something. A few weeks back in this very hall, there another program, I was present. Much limited number of participants there, hardly 40, 50 people. Quite a few of them were people who held some high office in this country or the other, statutory or constitutional. There was some debate like this about the constitutional goals and so on and so forth. A former chief election commissioner of this country was very candid. He said, the country where people spend 40 crores, 50 crores to get elected to the parliament and 5 to 10 crores to get elected to the legislative assembly, the reaction of the gathering was smiles. When my turn came, I pointed out, here this is the trouble. We have simply become indifferent to it. We are simply smiling it away. It is against the letter of the law. It is not conducive for the development of an orderly society. It is obnoxious, and it only enables a few to capture power, the people with the access to money. And we're all supposed to be people interested in the progress of this country, development of this country, and a democratic India. If you are able to smile on a statement like this, well, I'm not asking you to resort to sedition by taking an AK-47 and go and not saying that. But at least, can't we at least show a different reaction to such a state of affairs? Can we do something more about it or not is a different matter. But at least a reaction. It's not a matter to be smiled at all. At least that's what I believed. So this is the state of affairs. Unless we did something, there's no point in lamenting about what is good. Started thinking about what is to be done. Thank you very much.